Good evening, and welcome to Generation Movie on a Monday night. My name is J.W.
Good
Cole.
evening.
Good evening. Joined as always by my partner in crime, my good friend, the always smart, the highly intelligent, and the forever in love, like any of us from the '80s with Diane Franklin, Rich Drees. Rich,
Hey,
how you doing
everybody.
today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I guess at some point when we are in our discussion about our movie this week, we're gonna have to talk about how some of us just, there's a certain couple of actresses who just became cinematic crushes, and
She's one of
but
them.
anyway, yeah.
Let's talk about another actress who's about to become a cinematic crush. After we get some comments, and then we're going to talk about
Okay.
this. Joe Ridgely, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening,
Hey,
Joe. No, it's been a long
Yosef,
weekend. Um, it's just a wink and a nod to Joe.
Kenny.
Good evening, Ken McKernan. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad you're feeling better, and
Oh,
I check on your tests almost as much as I check on my own tests. Um, so let's talk about this actress that's causing all kinds of commotion today. I don't know if you've heard anything about this yet, Rich, but do you know who this is?
she doesn't exist.
That is correct. This is Tilly Norwood.
See, I can't be bothered to
She
even remember that.
it's Tilly Norwood. She isn't an actress, so we can't call her that. She's an AI creation, is what she is. And so so stories broke over the weekend about what people are calling the first AI generated actress, Tilly Norwood. Hollywood was so negative that basically, what would you expect from Hollywood? So basically, at our time we've had all these things, COVID hurting the industry, strikes, changing of the norms from movies to streaming. We have a president that's talking about tariffs, and
Which we can get into in a
we
moment.
can get into it in a moment.
But yeah,
But
let's deal with this ridiculousness and then
yeah,
the next ridiculousness.
the next. So some of the great stuff from some of the actresses, Melissa Barrera from the Scream movies. How gross! Read the room, please.
Hmm.
Um, Tony Collette perhaps said it best: a series of screaming emojis. And then so
Jeez.
it's this interesting like you're saying you're going to replace actors with this computer generated MacGuffin. And it becomes this weird. And the thing is, like, you know, somebody is going to sign her. And then what happened was the answer from the people was, the people who created Tilly Norwood, which is it's the photorealistic. Um, the studio is Zakoya. I'm Xicoia.
Hmm.
Um, it's an AI company overseen by Particle 6, another tech company, and they are founded specifically to generate artificial actors and stars. And I'm doing air quotes if you're listening. Um, and it's they said we're here to support live action performers and invent a new generation of movie stars from scratch. This was premiered at the September 25th Zurich Film Festival, and they said they want her to be the next Scarlett Johansson. And as one other actress has already said, we have a Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
She's actually like flesh and blood.
Colin
Um,
Jost ain't leaving the real Scarlett Johansson for this. That's
yes, it's not really happening. I was thinking about like fun stuff. Somebody brought up the player. I was just thinking of an interesting concept. It is to eliminate the writer from the artistic process. So we could just get rid of these actors and directors. Maybe we've got something here. Um, So
James Tolkien was really
essentially,
ahead of the time on that one.
essentially, what we have in this character, she's a Muppet. She's a, and actually, she's not even a Muppet because Muppets are real, right? And fun. But where do you think this heads? Who's the first? Who's the first person to put Tilly Norwood in a movie? I'm banking on Zaslav. I have on my bingo card Zaslav trying to destroy media as we know it.
You're not wrong there.
I'm not wrong. Basically said, there's a SAG-AFTRA strike in 2023 where everything went fucking wonky. We lost almost a year of product because of it. But the studios and these content creators and AI companies have been making automated images and creating people out of nothing. So there are confines within that contract.
I mean, this is, obviously it's, the whole phrase is it's show business, not show friends or whatever.
Yeah.
And I can see, from a strictly, absolutely mercenary standpoint of the business thing, what Tolkien was riffing on in the player, if we could just get rid of everybody involved, we could make something that would make a profit, bigger profit for us, which is, of course, ridiculous. But we're in a ridiculous time. We're living in idiocracy. So seeing
listen to some.
Hey, here's a way we can do a movie without actual actors, and if we own this process, we can just create whatever we need. And there's no art there.
It's weird. It's a wonky thing. Here's where it also gets kind of funny because this company basically said we're in a lot of boardrooms around February time, and everyone was like, "No, this is nothing. It's not going to happen." Then by May, people were like, "We need to do something with you guys." When we first launched Tilly, people were like, "What's that?" And now we're going to be announcing which agency is going to be representing her in the next few months. That's fucking bonkers, dude. Whatever that agency is, I mean, you are realizing you're going to lose every human, right?
Oh gosh, yeah. Say for example, CAA announces, oh, we've signed her. Every single damn artist worth their salt is going to go, bye. And if there's any stragglers, any agency worth their salt is going to come in and go, hey, really, come on, and
it's just, I just think it's a weird thing. It's morally bankrupt. We have a fine generation of actors. We have there are other happier stories out there. I heard an interesting pairing of Glenn Powell and Michael B. Jordan maybe circling a Miami Vice redo. Sure.
That all those rumors all go back to just one site that really hasn't established itself yet, I would say. And if this were true, I think you would definitely see some confirmation in the trade.
Well, I think interesting.
I mean, it's a great idea. I would love to see those two up there doing Miami Vice set in the 80s. I'm just not sure the validity of it right now. But I'm a boring skeptic. Sorry.
An early promo for Particle 6 also said, from Norwood, didn't inspire much faith either. One speaker referred to her as like if a Sunday roast went to drama school and got BAFTA optimized. Damn. As if it were a good thing, and as if her great actors are little pieces of meat. But can she cry on Graham Norton? Which another talking about. Of course she can, and it will be clipped, subtitled, and monetized on TikTok by lunchtime. So my thing is a couple things. I think, first off, whenever this happens, I think it might be the kind of thing where you and I and other people kind of have to take it. Cause I can't see actors acting with her. I can see if they make a Tilly Norwood movie and it's got Tilly Norwood has her little actors like a Barbie and Ken situation maybe, and you put them in whatever fucking creepy movie you want to make. My question is she optimized to the point where she doesn't have extra fingers or toes or whatever the fuck happens there? So you know what I mean? I just have all kinds of questions, and I think it'll be okay as long as she's starring with her own kind. right? Optimizations or optimizations. But I don't
Mhm.
know that Glenn Powell is going to be starring with Tilly Norwood, or Eddie Murphy is going to be, or anybody important. Like Daniel Day-Lewis comes out of retirement, not to work with Tilly Norwood. He comes out of retirement to work with his kid. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
it's still a human endeavor, and we're not like, no matter how good she is, at the end of the day, we're still gonna have issues with Tilly. Like, it's just I'm I think it's the funniest fucking thing I've ever, like, it's just because, like, I know you want to get rid of actors and directors and writers, and you want to own all
Mhm.
your own property, and you want, like, I understand this. You giant media I just got done with Alien Earth. So my cousin sent me a message, and he's like, "Is Alien Earth the most terrifying things in the movie aren't the aliens? It's not the octopus eye. It's not the xenomorph. It's not whatever the fuck those flies are that eat metal. It's not any of those things. The most terrifying things in the fucking show are the corporations running the world, right?
Mhm.
Um, did I ever
Um,
tell you about? Did
I
I?
okay. I In regards to Alien Earth, I can't take claim or credit for this, but I read somewhere over the weekend somebody saying for the last 10 to 12 years, the Alien franchise has been more of a stealth way to tell Blade Runner stories. Unfortunately, that comes at the diminishment of the xenomorph and the scariness of the xenomorph. And I was like, I don't really
Well,
disagree with
I think
that. And I think Alien
what I
is
would
very
say is
similar to what we.
the original Alien always touched upon. So the original Alien had Ash, right? The second Alien
Mhm.
had Bishop, so it always had offshoot. What is AI? What are the robots? The androids, are they, one's evil, one's not evil? It's always done that. I would
Yeah.
say Alien Earth. Part of, I think, the reason Noah Hawley did it was because I think he thought he could play around with a series of things, right? Not just
Mhm.
one or two options. And of course, it has the kids. It has Wendy slash Marcy. We want to call her by her real name. Um, and it has all that going on. But like, this takes the cake. This is the new. If you're really, and like, again, I can't wait for the day that some agency goes, we'll do it. I think it should be, they should be smarter than that though. It should just be one agent. Let one agent represent her and fire him immediately. Let him go on his way. Pick one agent out of all the agents who doesn't want to work with humans anymore. And he may become the most powerful agent in Hollywood, right? It could happen. But
Mhm.
it's, it is a dangerous business, Richard. It is a dangerous business that we're playing here. So wait, that's what Tara's delving into in Harlow's next step. If it's AI generated characters, one of the reasons I enjoyed Harlow's Hunt was because it was old fashioned, had a lot of old timey actors, plus it was all relatively no CGI. So still need actors and etc. Sure, actors need to be camera scan for AI and do the voiceover work. No, Joe, no, that is incorrect. That is incorrect. She has been built, just so we're clear, she has been built to be a composite of the most popular actors of the last 20 years. And if you look closely, you can see it. She's got a bit of Portman. She's got a bit of Scarlett Johansson. She's got a bit of Margot Robbie. It's all there. You just have to look hard. But she's been done as a composite of
Yeah.
the most bankable actresses of the last 20 years.
Yeah. This isn't a case of like, oh, you're pushing back against new technology. You're just the same as somebody who thought talkies were vulgar or color was going to destroy the
Sean,
movies or
Sean writes, "Hello,
stereo,
brother." No,
widescreen.
Sean, it's okay. Rich and I aren't AI. We're not going anywhere.
But
We're
but I think this, all these other technological achievements beforehand were ways to expand presenting human performance and human storytelling. This is not, and that's
Yeah, I
kind of
mean,
where I kind of draw a line.
well, and the other side of it is, movies have always been a human endeavor, right? So you're right. Like Technicolor, it's because you want to see, the other one, like the Technicolor, we want to see more.
Mhm.
We want to see more vibrant colors, right?
Yeah,
CinemaScope, we want
wide
VistaVision,
vistas.
we want wideness. We want to be able to see everything. The IMAX camera that Nolan's it's touting right now. It's to make a bigger, more like epic feel.
Hmm.
This is the opposite. She looks like Jessica Alba. Yeah, that's nightmarish. They need to be scanned for what Terry's doing. Are giving full actors credit. That's fine. That's different. That's a motion capture. Like that seems like a motion capture, right? So we all know like Gollum is a great character, but we don't get Gollum without the actor, right?
Exactly.
So that's where the issue is. Don't forget the scroll, please. Oh, I'm sorry. I have it. There it is. I don't know why it got knocked off.
We love
Thanks.
it when the boss comes on to the show,
Yeah,
just
that's fine.
nag us into
It's
doing what
like
we should be doing.
I
I
forgot
love you, Joe.
I forgot to open the cooler. Um, damn, autocorrect. That was supposed to be hello, brothers. Well, that's okay. I thought it was like a very witty. I give you credit for being very witty, Sean. Like, hello, brother. Like, are you the real JW or are you just an AI composite? And then Thomas Churchill Wright agreed. Good to have you, Church. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you, brother. But yeah, so it's all of the other film technology that's been brought forward has been in an effort to showcase directors, writers, actors. This is the first one where it's like what we need less of
Cutting those
is
out of the equation.
directors, writers, and actors. So we're going to the player. It's out of hand. Maybe I was. Take credit, Sean. Take credit. So that's one of the big stories. The other big story that we have to talk about, because we talked about it early, and then somebody threw a light on the floor, and we were able to escape talking about it. Somebody, took out a little flashlight and shined it on the floor, and he was distracted for a moment. So nobody knows what to make of this, but in a lengthy post on Truth Social, Trump took to social media a fresh wave of threats to impose tariffs on films made outside the United States. Movie making business has been stolen from the United States of America by other countries, just like stealing candy from a baby, adding that he would be imposing a 100% tariff on any and all movies that are made outside of the United States. Studios and streamers were caught off guard by the mess of the White House have made no contact with the Motion Picture Association of America ahead of the announcement. It mirrors the Trump threat he made in late May. Nobody understands. Everybody's privately skeptical.
Do we just have a clip from back in May when we talked about this and why he's wrong and what they should be doing in terms of tax incentives
interesting thing
nationwide?
is, like,
Can we just roll that instead of having to go
just,
through?
oh God, it's just one of those things where it's like we're talking about it because everybody's buzzing about it today. So you have the first thing in Hollywood today, and you have this Tilly Norwood thing where people are getting ambushed on red carpets, and then also now people are getting ambushed on red carpets about the Trump 100% tariffs, because it's like they're ambushing them. I think they did it for the Smashing Machine, and like Smashing Machine was filmed. Let's see, where did I see it was filmed? It was filmed in New Mexico, Tokyo, and Vancouver. So people coming in from the Smashing Machines, world premiere, were asked about, what do you think about the tariffs? Your movie would have been impacted 100%. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, movies, and I say this all the time. How you doing? How you doing? I'm okay. I can kind of do the accent when you do it, Church. I appreciate you. And your show, of course, is coming soon as well. We'll talk about it. Well, we can talk about it really quick right now, but we want to get back to the business. But that's happening very soon. New Indie Brigade coming up on our network. But it's one of those things where and we're very excited about it. But also, it's one of those things where, just so we're clear, Mr. President, the last true thing we ship everywhere, and I mean everywhere, is our entertainment product. It is
Mhm.
the next to American jazz or American pop music. Think Blue Jeans and Bruce Springsteen, albums trying to get into Russia in the '80s. That episode of Head of the Class, for fuck's sake, where they had like Dennis had like a suitcase full of Bruce Springsteen albums. Same concept. American
That
music.
is an incredibly deep cut, my friend.
That is a huge deep cut. To me, he also had Blue Jeans. It's an incredibly deep cut. He didn't care about women in Russia.
Our minds are stuck in the Reagan '80s right now because
because of the movies, but also Dennis Schneider is in this movie. So I'm sorry. Anyway, moving on. It's the last great American product. So let me guess. You don't like Hollywood. You hate Hollywood. Great. The American Motion Picture Association declined to comment. They've already called a board meeting for Tuesday because you have to take things seriously because it is the president of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
The board includes Alan Bergman from Disney, Amazon MGM Mike Hopkins, NBC Universal's Donna Langley.
Basically, the MPA gets their funding entirely from like the majors.
Yeah,
which reminds me, I had a question about that the other day that I haven't been able to research yet. Sorry for the tangent. If studios keep consolidating like this, they're going to run out of you had like 7 studios, funding the MPA. Now you have like maybe 4 or 5. Do they still get the same amount of funding? Where or are they losing funding every time Disney gobbles up a Fox?
No, I don't think they're going to lose funding. I think it because the way, if you're really paying attention, the way studios are functioning, they're still making things along the studio
as
line.
Fox. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was a random thought I had the other day, and I just, like I said, didn't even have time to research it or think about it.
But I think the way you look at it is they're not gonna change anything. The cut's gonna be the same. It's just, like what was I watching over the weekend? It was like a Disney movie, but it was like it had 20th Century Studios. Like it was just wonky as hell. Like I was just like, yeah. I mean, it didn't have like it didn't have the Tiffany, right? It didn't have the cool 20th Century Fox logo and everything, but it was fine. But yeah, I just every time like something wonky happens, like we have the AI problem, and we have like the other thing is that we talked about this in May when it came up. It will hurt every fundamental bit of the American entertainment industry. It will practically kill theaters because if we're talking about 100%, like when was the Superman wasn't made 100% in America, so one of the biggest hits of the summer. And we're going to impose on. Is that tariff going to be on tickets? Like you and I talked about, what is the pragmatic way of doing this? And if you are trying to bring everything back, are you talking about national tax credits to film in the States? Because like states are already doing that, so it's a really wonky system. And my question, my ironic, horrifically minded, just because I get a little choppy about when they start trying to attack movies, is, are you doing the tariffs because you need a little bit more money to help the farmers you bankrupted because of the tariffs you set up on China, and because all the farmers don't have their soybean production or their soybean sales this year because you screwed around with China, and now you're doing a bailout of the farmers like you did in your first administration? So are you going to use the movie industry as your pocketbook to pay for your people theoretically that voted for you pretty totally, and now you're going to bail them out because the tariffs you set up with China blew up on your face? Like, is that what we're talking about? Is that the concept that we're going with, that tariffs on the film industry? Like,
yeah, I mean,
It's
well, let's
wonky.
face it. First of all, like the most important, I think, germ of the argument here is movies are considered a service, and you can't put a tariff on them to begin with. Like we said back in May, there's so many. How do you do this? And we were, ultimately, it does come down to the fact, though, that you just can't. It doesn't work that way. Do unless he comes up and has to push it through Congress, because Congress legally, I guess, has
Oh,
the
you
maybe
poor
still. I
child.
haven't checked to see if they gave that away yet. The power to levy taxes and tariffs. And
It's so dumb.
it is.
It's
And
so dumb, and it has like, but so here's the rule though. Second time he's mentioned something, usually means he's got a plan of some sort. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but that's a big story
I
today.
think I'm hoping
They
it's going to blow
asked,
up in his face again, and then he's going to forget about it. We repeat this cycle every 4 months for the next 3.5 years until I
well, and
succumb to alcoholism or something. I guess I don't know, but
but well, for example, like just to give an idea, and this is where we're talking about, right?
mhm.
Um, so things that are going on right now, studio blockbusters next to Avenger films, all foreign, all on being shot on foreign soil. Third Doom film, new HBO's new Harry Potter show. Um, we have production hubs in the United Kingdom, which is Pine Tree. So you're basically saying you don't want the Bond film to be shown in the United States. You don't want the next Bond film. I'm sure Bezos, who owns Amazon, might have a little problem with you saying I'm going to 100% impose tariffs on whatever happens with the next $200 million James Bond movie. That can't be shot like a James Bond adventure completely shot in the States. That's not going to happen. So it's like
No.
it's dumb, but again, it's not so dumb that it can't happen, and it's also not so dumb that reporters again on the red carpet. I was watching the videos. Emily Blunt's there to talk about the movie. She's there to talk about possibly an either Best Actress nomination or Supporting Actress nomination for her, and Dwayne Johnson's star-making, Oscar-winning, whatever's happening, Oscar nomination out of this movie, and she got hit with AI Tilly Norwood, and your movie was filmed out of the country. I think I had to be a Fox reporter. Your movie was filmed out of the country. If Trump imposed 100% taxes, your movie would have been 100% taxed. And she's like, yeah, because you can't make every movie in the United States. It's not how that
Mhm.
works. It's not how the entertainment industry works. I just we talked about it. I don't know. I wanted to get it out there. What else? What else is happening today? A major announcement at from Disney and Fox Studios within Disney. They've they have declared that we will get a second Simpsons movie summer of 2027. So July 23rd, 2027. It's basically taking the space of an untitled Marvel movie. And then we will have they fixed up, they patched up what they're doing. Avengers Doomsday is December 18th, 2026. Avengers Secret Wars December 17th, 2027. And then the Simpsons movie with the signature pink donut and tagline Homer's coming back for seconds. Are we excited about this?
Only
Is this
16 years too late on this. Really, come on.
Well, I think the interesting thing is the most interesting thing for me is they're putting it 2 years into. They're putting it 2 weeks behind the next Superman movie. I think I think they should move this. They should move something else. If they're
They
trying to kill Superman's hype, this is not going to do it. So like not even like Fantastic Four, which is good, could outdo Superman. And this is again, we're almost 20 years after the fact.
Mhm.
20. It's not 16. It's 20. Right?
Yeah, it will be 20. It was 97, right?
It was 90.
So yeah, it will
No, it
come
was
out 20 years. exactly
2007.
20
It was
years.
2007.
2007, excuse me.
So
Math was never my strong suit.
one of the things that the reason they greenlit it was because apparently they don't release any data from Disney Plus, but apparently when they put The Simpsons on Disney Plus, it's been the numbers, the algorithm and the numbers behind it have been staggering. So
Hmm.
they see a they see an algorithm. There's no studio exec right now that doesn't love a good algorithm. Um, so anyway, that's the other big news. You want to hit really quick on why we shouldn't be performing at the Riyadh Comedy Festival? The line. Here's the thing.
It's
The
a
lineup
repressive
is.
regime. They're giving you a ton of restrictions on what you can say, and most of the comics who are showing up are the people who are like, you can't say anything because it cancel culture. Well, you just bought into it and sold out.
My favorite Mark Maron concert thing. His response today from the folks that brought you 9/11. 2 weeks of laughter in the desert. Don't miss it. I mean, don't miss it, or something will happen to you. I mean,
Mhm.
the same guy that's going to pay them is the same guy that paid the guy to bonesaw Jamal Khashoggi and put him in a fucking suitcase. But don't
Yeah,
let that stop the yucks. It's going to be a great time, a good time.
yeah.
I
No, I'm sorry. Fuck that festival.
Yeah, it's bad.
And
But it's
any of those
I
comics who are performing there, I have lost a lot of respect, if not all of the respect.
I can't believe we've come to this point where it's like you can't perform there. Just
No.
anyway, I have the
This is
same problem.
this
I have
is
the same
like,
problem.
okay, again, we're gonna have to draw a parallel to the '80s here. This is like playing Sun City,
Yeah,
and
it's
dealing with apartheid
it's like
in South Africa.
it's weird. It's like I don't know. It's like having a festival about Ukraine and then doing it in Moscow. Like
Mhm.
it's not a good look. And but there have been like again the major comics that are going. It's kind of like some on the list you're not surprised, and then some on the list you're like, I can't believe they're going. And then there are people that are not going where I went like. I looked at one of them and like Shane Gillis issued a statement, and Shane Gillis all of a sudden is like he's growing his spine and whatnot, and he's a funny guy, and his Saturday Night Live episodes have been pretty good when he's hosted. But he said, I don't know, they offered me a huge bag, but I can't 9/11 my friends. So it's like if Shane Gillis is having moral quandaries, maybe think it through, people.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what? There isn't a moral quandary about tonight's movie, though. There's not a single moral quandary in my mind about this,
About how good it is, yes.
about how good it is.
Um,
Let's do
I have a
quick.
moral quandary about somebody who's in it, but we'll get to that maybe.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because
I do hate it when the movies I
it's
love have an issue. Let's talk box office really quick, also before we get out of our
mm,
news bit.
yeah,
This movie did above expectations this weekend.
fantastic.
It was anywhere for 18 to 20. I didn't get to see it yet.
Dude,
I was on a vacation
I know
in
you had a road trip.
I had a road trip that involved 1,500 miles and two plane rides. But this movie grossed $22 million. It is a 3-hour movie. That is hard to do. Played on 3,600 screens. Took over the number one slot. Gabby's Dollhouse, which I don't know anything about because I have 9 and a 7-year-old nephews in the house, not girls.
Hmm.
Open to shockingly enough, it opened to 13.6, but I think they were expecting more because it is a popular show on I think it's Nickelodeon. And then that did fine, but another thing bouncing along, right? Shockingly bouncing along is this movie, Demon Slayer Infinity Castle, which grossed another $7 million over the weekend, so it's up to 118. Conjuring and the Strangers Chapter 2 just coming back. Wait, is that the brand new one? No, that is the brand new one. Oh my god, that bombed huge. That only did Strangers Chapter 2? Really?
Yeah.
That only
Oh
did
yeah.
that is a huge bomb. for Lionsgate. Lionsgate's not having a good year. 5.8, and they can't open that. A decent strategy. Him dropped 73%. Long Walk only dropped another 47%. So Long Walk almost beat him in its third week in the box office. And I think the more I think about The Long Walk, which is a very difficult film, once The Long Walk hits streaming, I think The Long Walk becomes a movie people talk about. You know, like Shawshank Redemption didn't do well early. And then all of a sudden, like people kind of fell in love with it. And I think The Long Walk's going to be the same way because the performances in The Long Walk are charming and heartbreaking. And I'm happy it's kind of bouncing along. It's at 28 million. That's not bad, right? Also, this weekend we had Fathom Events. I was going to say Phantom Events. Fathom Events had Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, and Spider-Man in theaters.
Yep.
Spider-Man 2 did 1.1 million on 1,400 screens, and I think it was one day. Spider-Man did 737, 1,400 screens. So Spider-Man only did less than 1 million. And then Spider-Man 3, of course, only did 400,000, as it should. Because it's a bad movie.
But I Friday I went to see Spider-Man. I just didn't have the energy in me, unfortunately, to go see Spider-Man 2.1. But man, I think that movie still plays really well.
Well, and I think
you can nitpick visuals if you want. I don't care. I think as a story, it works super well.
Well, and that's why if you're paying attention around the country, people were putting up Tobey's my Spider-Man, and it's like, I like Tobey, but the kid we have now is pretty good. Like I'm not like I was at a pretty big guy event with all my guy friends, and we're watching Superman, and everybody in the house was pretty much Christopher Reeve Superman, right? But Corn Sweat won some people over. He's like, and people who hadn't seen it or didn't have time because they have kids and families, and I was happy to and obliged to show him it. Because that's my new job, apparently. That's why I'm wearing it tonight. Also, just for clear, now that it hit HBO Max, apparently it's the most popular movie in HBO Max's history after 2 weekends. Something like 13 million streams of the movie, which put it on par with Dune that actually got streamed on HBO Max first. And in theaters at the same time. So
yeah, it's just the restoration of the DCU property as a property of quality of people were like, yeah, it looks good, but I'll still wait till HBO. And now they're going, oh crap! And I think this only bodes well for
this only bodes well for this.
Supergirl.
This only bodes well for this as well.
And yes, Man of Tomorrow, which we'll get in just a little under 2 years.
Yeah, I told everybody as we're drinking heavily and watching Superman, you only got to wait 2 years for the sequel, and now you get your asses to the theaters. And there was a resounding kind of a yes. Okay, Sean writes, I heard Strangers 2 is absolutely horrible. Apparently. And I didn't know it was coming out this week. Like, that's also, it's weird for me to miss a slasher movie, but I had a thing to do this weekend.
After I think the first one did terrible, they're just like, okay, we're kind of got to release. Did they do? Yeah, they shot 3 altogether back to back, right?
I don't know that one.
And,
that's
because it wasn't the original. Wasn't the original intent to release them every 2 months or something like that for half a year?
I don't know. It's not my it's not my favorite franchise. I just found out that Wednesday night and Nightmare on Elm Street's playing for one night only because they're doing a big, huge 4K event, and Nightmare on Elm Street's playing in theaters on Wednesday. I think I'm going. So I just, I
mean, yeah, we talked about how Regal is running their, different movie every day during Halloween. Another thing I found, I can't remember if take 2. I can't remember if this is a Fathom event or not, But the not this Sunday, but the following Sunday, if memory serves, they're showing a brand new 4K restoration of Battle Royale.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
remember when this movie originally came out in Japan?
It's a Fathom. I think it's a Fathom event.
Yeah, we were in the midst of that first unfortunate wave of school shootings, where the finale
the
of
wave,
that
that
year was
kind of
being
the wave that kind of put us like we're now under an ocean of school shootings and church shootings. And, yeah,
where
it was
we
like
can't
it was
keep up
just
with
like
them.
a weird trend. But now it's like, oh, it's 9 a.m. A school got shot up somewhere. These guns don't shoot themselves.
But so like, this was a movie that was renounced for its violence, which really isn't that bad. On the floor of the Japanese Diet, which is the kind of like their version of Congress. This is a movie that took forever to get picked up in the U.S. by a home video company back in '95 or '6 or whenever it was.
Yeah, and now it's being.
I had to import to watch it. I had to import not a DVD, not a Laserdisc, but a VCD.
Oh,
a video
Jesus.
compact disc with the movie on like two sides, and I had to. That's how I had to import it, so I could show it to friends on my movie night. And I went.
You always have the best
for my
movies,
friends.
Rich.
My movie nights were flipping legendary.
They're amazing.
But
well,
I'm anxious to see it again because I haven't watched the movie in forever.
If I know 4K, I think the interesting fun thing is, like, some of these movies, like a re-release of Spider-Man 2 is outgrossing, almost outgrossing the new Strangers movie. Get a fucking hint, kids. We need classics. Start making better fucking movies when these movies are outgrossing the shit you're making. But if we didn't have classics, we wouldn't have our show. And tonight's classic is this movie right here, Better Off Dead. And there's not. So this is one of those rare movies, Rich, and I think it's a phenomenal thing to talk about. One of the things we don't have now, right? And we have it sometimes, but one of the things that we had in the 80s where these movies came out and they weren't major motion picture. They didn't do whatever. But somehow HBO would buy the rights and HBO would show them on a fucking continuous loop all fucking day. You could literally walk in, walk out, go out to get like something to eat, come back 20 minutes later. It's the same fucking scene that you left. Like, this is before HBO 2, HBO 3. It was like these movies were on a loop, and like every day Better Off Dead was on. And every day you come home from school and you click on Better Off Dead. It might be the exact same part you were on yesterday when you had to go do your homework. And
over the weekend, actually, I was doing some research. I was looking up some information on HBO's Not Necessarily the News comedy series. And
you're not going to do this. Not Necessarily the News came up over the weekend. The guy thing I was at, Sniglets came up.
Okay.
And one of the Stuart Pankin sketches came up. And so I find it fun that you were on the weekend. That I was sitting by a fire drinking some Angry Orchard. Blood Orange.
Sound.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
No?
Okay, bet. Yeah.
Okay. I was drinking Angry Orchard Jason Blood Orange. Ooh. You were and it came up. Stuart Pankin, I can't remember what the sketch was. It was some. I was heavily drinking this weekend, so it was one of those things. But it was that and Sniglets. Rich? You remember the word? Wait for Sniglets, really quick. This is a good one, movie one. Do you remember the word that Rich Hall? He used to do Sniglets, which were these words that he would just invent. Do you remember the word for fighting over the armrest at a movie theater?
Oh, no, I don't.
Elbonics. Elbonics is the act of fighting over the armrest at a movie theater with somebody you don't know. Okay. Yeah,
But
do
anyway,
your thing.
I was going through, and on the Internet Archive, somebody has scanned all those old HBO program books as PDFs, so you can go
Oh,
through them and go, okay, let's see what was showing on HBO in April of 1985. Boom, boom. Oh, on Friday, August 9th, was the first time they screened The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. Okay, that might have been a hint about what I was researching.
yes.
And,
At
but,
the end of the day, you say research. I go, what was Peter Weller wearing? I'm
but
just
what's funny
knowing
is
you.
what's funny is I was going through and just looking at like random days, and there's like there would be like 2 or 3 movies that would get a run in the morning and then a run later on in the evening.
It was like
And
literally,
yeah,
a movie theater. It was
yeah.
literally like they would
If
run
you
like
liked a
every
movie,
2 hours.
you had 10 to 12 chances a month to watch that movie. If you were, willing to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, sometimes up at 4:30 in the morning, or stay up until 4:30 in the morning to watch it, or and then if you're home or you're back from school in
I
time, or
remember the
or
Saturday
work.
morning Star Wars premiere at
Mm.
9 a.m. Saturday morning. Star Wars premiered on HBO. My dad had a Betamax, and we loaded the taped Star Wars off
Mhm.
HBO, and just the gloriousness. Like I think Star Wars ran that day all like every slot was we're just gonna run Star Wars every 2 hours, 2 hours 7 minutes.
Didn't Sci-Fi Channel do that too when they went on the air? Didn't they run Star Wars like 24 hours straight at first or something?
It was
I
I
know
don't know
the
if it was
very
Star Wars.
first movie
It might have been
TCM ran was Gone with the Wind, but they
yeah.
didn't like repeat it.
They didn't repeat it, but
Um,
Star Wars ran all fucking day. But this is one of those movies that you're talking about,
yeah,
the 12 to 13 times.
yeah.
Um, so it's not necessarily super famous. We're gonna get to the numbers. The numbers are not going to impress anybody as we talk about them. Um, so this movie is shot in all America, so it would have been fine with the tariffs. Alta, right, and Snowbird in Utah. The Myers
Mhm.
home is located at 1636 Virginia Avenue in Glendale, California. Across the street at 1633 Virginia is the home of the Smith family. So that's where Monique lives. And then
Yes.
Lane's High School is Hollywood High School, located at North Island Avenue. Pig Burgers was filmed at Sandy's Char Burgers, and you can tell as you're watching the movie, they just everybody wants some covers the Sandys, right? And then they have the pig signs up. The exterior of the school dance was shot at Wes Anderson W. Clark Magnet High School in La Crescencia, California. Lane is constantly fighting with the Japanese drivers on the foothills of Monrovia, California. And then the other driving scenes shot around Los Angeles and Sierra Madre and Duarte. Um, this movie is famous for its hand drawn animation, right?
It,
There is a
if you didn't know going into this movie that the director Savage Steve Holland comes from a background in animation, this
yeah,
movie
his
didn't include you in.
Savage Steve Holland actually his two most famous movies have an abundance of animation. I like the animation in both of them, and maybe next year we'll do celebrating its 40th anniversary. Maybe next year we'll do One Crazy Summer.
Hmm.
But
But
collaborator Bill Kopp would also work on One Crazy Summer. So there's an animation sequence where Lane's drawing Beth and Roy Stalin, the William Zabka wannabe, and he's drawing a
man,
monster and everything.
Roy Stalin is just the best name. If you had to pick
Also,
any of the perfect
he's a
perfect
terrible
name for the
person.
bad guy in an '80s teen comedy,
Yeah, he's a
Roy
Roy
Stalin.
Stalin. Also, just so we're clear, Savage Steve Holland and Bill Kopp would later work on Eat the Cat. So there's a dream sequence of hamburgers and fries that come to life. That was produced in stop motion.
Hmm.
And one of the most interesting things you can pick up on with regards to background and fun things, Diane Franklin, everybody's dream girl from the 80s. Most of us are dream girls from the 80s. Yano Anaya, and if you don't know who that name is, you clearly haven't seen A Christmas Story. He also played one of Johnny Gasparini's other Paperboy gang members. And basically, if you listen to the name, if you listen to the voice, he eventually looped the dialogue for the Paperboy. So Demian Slade is the person, but Yano Anaya, who is one of the bullies in A Christmas Story. He's a little one. Grover, I think is Grover is the little one. He Grover Dill. That's what it is. Grover Dill. He looped over all the voice work for Johnny Gasparini or Damian Slade, I should say. So it's a weird thing. He would also Naya would also play a young Anthony Michael Hall or Michael Anthony in the music video for Hot for Teacher. So it's one of the only funny stories about this movie is that the I want my $2. If you close your eyes real hard, you can hear Grover Dill, which is great. And it's an amazing kind of like fun little thing where you're like, because the Paperboy is the biggest bully in the goddamn movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about you? Have you been to any of these places? You visit LA every once in a while.
I have not yet.
I could totally see you going to Monique's house and maybe throwing a lemon at the sign. You got a great arm. It's a good arm.
I really should, and just to make sure that the windows on the garage door are still all intact, and
right, and also make sure that the mom's okay.
Yeah. But one of the other things about
by the primer,
by our wonderful director Savage Steve here being in animation is so much of the movie itself feels kind of like a cartoon in that there's like little episodic things. Yeah, they're moving the plot along, but they feel almost like little isolated
sketches,
bits of action that leads to big gag. It feels very Warner Brothers Bugs Bunny Daffy Duck ish from the 40s and 50s.
I would say I wouldn't say Bugs Bunny. I wouldn't say Bugs Bunny. He's definitely more Daffy Duck, right? It's Bugs like Bugs is like the rock line. Bugs fucks the prom queen, right? Lane Myer is not a Bugs. Lane Myer is more of a Daffy. Things don't go well. I hate my fucking life. I want my $2. Laugh out loud. Yeah, there are a lot of great quotes. My favorite quote in the movie is the one I have on the screen for me tonight, which is, he put his tentacles all over me. So what'd you say? How you say octopus? Tentacles? Testicles?
Yeah,
no, tentacles. Tentacles.
NT.
Huge difference.
Let's go through these couple of
Meyer, is he your main wiener man? I fucking hate Stalin. And like ugh. And then thanks Jerry for coming on. This is pure snow. Do you know what the street value of this mountain is? Look, I can't move my right arm. I've frozen what you're missing. I've frozen the left side of my brain. Also he sniffs Jello, which is because he can't get in. Charles DeMar can't get any real drugs, but like the production, it's not anything. Although one of the things that came out, after production, one of the stories is that there was always a theory that there was, John Cusack is very difficult on himself as an actor. He's one of those actors doesn't like to see himself. Also doesn't, has it very hard on his movies. He apparently had a huge falling out with Savage Steve Holland, although they were already filming One Crazy Summer at the premiere for this movie, and he came out of this movie and he left the screening and said, this could have been better. The movie we shot was better, and it doesn't work. And the funny thing there is Cusack was talking about it on a podcast and basically said, I'm so happy that everybody fell in love with it, but like most of the movies in my career, I was not in love with it at the time it was happening. He goes, which is on me. So, Savage Steve Holland has a very specific, very specific artistic reference point. But yeah, not a lot of stories production wise, except for ones like that. but the production is solid. Like, this is Ricky. I'm sorry about your mom, Ricky. That's him sipping Jello. Diane Franklin, in all her glory, looks to her left, and Charles DeMar, played by Curtis Armstrong, is
The
sniffing
wonderful
Jello.
Curtis Armstrong.
This guy right here, look,
Mhm.
Charles DeMar. It all, like, it's got a lot going on. The casting is sublime. David Ogden Stiers plays a lawyer who's Lane's father, who is not. It's not Ozzie and Harriet. He doesn't have the answer for everything. As a matter of fact, most of the scenes he's in, he's reading a book that's hidden from Lane's view. This, of course, is the French bread, French dressing scene with the Peru / Perrier. These are the Chinese dudes. Two guys, who come to America. One doesn't speak any English. The other's learned everything he's ever learned to say from watching Howard Cosell. And Lane meets him several times in the movie. But this is the time when he gets to drive his Camaro after Diane Franklin. Again, and a lot of the pictures I have tonight will have Diane Franklin in them. For obvious reasons.
I sent you a picture with Diane Franklin in there. Did you get that, by the way? I sent that to you.
No. When did you send it to me? I will take care of that now, Rich. I did not get it, but that's okay.
I think it's a very important Diane Franklin picture that we need to put up. I
hate you so much.
What I really like about this movie.
I hate you sometimes. I just hate you. Not because I have to do work during the show. Not because I have to do work during the show. Just because 9 times out of the pictures you have are pictures that I would like to be in as well, and I'm not, and therefore I should go fuck myself. Anyway.
Oh, come on, buddy! Now stop.
No, stop that. Also, put up my.
No, cool come picture. On, little buddy. Cheer up,
little
You're
trooper.
You're gonna ski the K-12
there. Little trooper. You can ski. Go down really fast if something gets in your way.
But what I was going to say was, I mean, we kind of segued into.
We're going to segue. We'll do the review in a second. Let me do the number. The numbers won't take anything. All of 2.5 seconds.
Okay.
I'm just working. I'm working on getting your pictures. Like, this is Lane. This is, of course, what Sean was referring to.
Mm-hmm.
Again, though, the interesting thing here is we all thought this was the kid was saying it. He was cool. But again, if you close your eyes, it's Grover Dill from A Christmas Story. Super cool. The casting's also super important. Diane Franklin had already done Last American Virgin, a couple other things. And then you couple Cusack with Curtis Armstrong, and it's a really good pairing. Also, Kim Darby from True Grit and a bunch of other movies, and David Ogden Stiers are hilarious in this movie. Like, it's not just funny. Then there's this guy also. So if you've seen Porky's, you realize the guy who runs Pig Burger also runs Porky's. And then, it's an incredible lineup thing. 80s movies were great in my opinion. I think it's in everybody's opinion. I don't know that I don't know that a lot of people grew up in the 80s or people who love 80s movies don't come out of 80s movies going, they're amazing. They're like, and then you feel bad for other generations that don't have 80s movies to fall back on. And that's the thing. I don't love new movies. Just 80s movies.
I try to divorce my own nostalgia and my own love of my, mythologicalizing my own, teenage years during the 80s and stuff from, okay, are these movies really good? And, maybe the overall story arc through here could have been a little stronger. But damn it, this is a fun movie. And
it's a funny movie, and it's
missed this one.
But you know what it is? It's fun. I think critics missed it. I think audiences missed it, but then we got it. I think the box office, the box office is incredibly bleak, although it's interesting. So it earns $56,000 on its opening weekend. Cool.
But on how many screens?
It had 13 opening theaters. The highest amount of theaters it ever got in the country was 650. But this is where it gets fun. Those 650 screens It played for 6 weeks, and it ended up after a $56,000 opening weekend, which is 0.5 of its total gross. It ended up with, here we go, $10 million. Now you say $10 million isn't that much money, JW, but for a movie with very little screen time that only opened to 56, if a movie opens to $56,000 on 13 screens today, that would be a nightmare for a specialty box office movie. The adjusted inflation box office for this movie is $32 million, which is huge. It's the budget.
That $10 million figure. Yeah, I'm sorry, you're about to say. Go ahead.
Oh no,
you were just about to say what I was going to say. That $10 million figure is, up against a budget of $3.5 million. So if it didn't just break even, it tripped right short of the finish line, and then home video, syndication out to HBO forever and ever and ever. It just released. It made the studio some money.
Right. It just, for the first time in a while, released on Paramount Plus and a couple other places, and also it hasn't been in heavy rotation for a while. But the box office, like I said, Rich, if you had a movie opening and it opened to $56,000 and it ends up with $10 million, that's a fucking win.
Oh yeah,
right? That's a win in the best possible sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, it had that screwy distribution where it opened up on a couple of screens, and then eventually by the middle of the fall, it got to its biggest point, and then
a couple things. I want to just quick thing, Sean. I got your message. 80 movies were great. I love the list you sent me. As we get closer to the anniversary of those movies, I will definitely take that list into account. So, we listen to our fans. I especially listen to fans knowledgeable like you are, and also you asked for $2. I don't know what I owe you for, but I'll try to get it to you. So the box office is great, and that's where we come into where does it stand, right, Rich? That's the question now. So we use Rotten Tomatoes as a good aggregate, and this is a funny one. 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, exceedingly high for an 80s teen comedy, especially in the mid 80s, because by 85 we've already had some of the greatest movies put out, and now it's kind of like it's a declining quality versus trying to capture the magic that happened from 80 to 84, right? So, but Better Off Dead, the thing about Better Off Dead that you hear over everything you hear about Better Off Dead. So a 75% tomato meter, 87% popcorn meter, with over 50,000 ratings. So what does that mean, Rich? That means when people see this movie, they love this movie. When people watch this movie, they fall in love with this movie. And the thing is, if you have teens or like 12, 13-year-old people, this is a great movie to generationally. There's nothing horrific in it, although it does play with the idea of suicide. But I was watching it today, right? The interesting thing about the suicide thing is my favorite moment, the first time he tries to commit suicide, he puts a telephone, he puts a cord around his neck and is hanging in the garage. And there's this great moment where he's just like, what am I doing? This is death here. And he's like, this is so stupid. And then he gets knocked off the step by his mother who's vacuuming. And of course he gets out of it. But it's like one of those things where it's like, if you're ever worried about your kid or, and we all are, the idea that this character thinks about, like, has a bad breakup, thinks about it, and then immediately goes, what the hell am I doing? This is death. So he still thinks about suicide other points in the movie. But like I said, the magic of this movie is in its performances and the vignettes that play out, right? So it's a typical teen gets dumped because his girl moves on to bigger, better things. That's Roy Stalin. And Roy Stalin is kind of an Adonis guy, right? He's just this amazing Aaron Dozier. plays Roy Stalin. He takes Beth. He's the captain of the ski team. He cheats Lane Myer out of getting onto the ski team twice because they don't start the clock twice, and then Lane only misses it by a minute, second and a half, because 58 seconds, and Lane comes in at 1 minute, and you've already watched Stalin cheat twice, and it's like, God damn it. But it's the winning performances, it's the small vignettes, it's the
what's crazy is Aaron Dozier. I'm going with Dozier because
Dozier? Okay,
it's spelled the same way as Bill Dozier, who worked on Batman 66. This guy only did like 2 movies, or 1 movie and a TV series, 1 episode of a TV series called Hail to the Chief from 1985. And I'm like, why the heck did he not have a better career? There's really nothing. Yeah,
he,
really,
and that's,
and his thing is like, he said, I'm looking here on the IMDb as we're talking, and it's like, he has 1 quote. It was like, it was really tough to give up my thespian career. I mean, I was in an 80s movie with John Cusack. Not too many people can stake claim to that. And there's like a trivia thing. He went on to be hired by Boston College as the head coach of the ski team in 2004. God, imagine you're in your dorm, you're watching Better Off Dead, and then you go, oh, time to go to ski team practice.
Your fucking ski coach is fucking Roy Stalin.
I know, that'd be crazy.
I think,
but it's sad because I think he does a great performance here.
It's a really good performance. He's the epitome of jerk. He is jerk all the time. Like, he oinks at Lane Myer when he has a goddamn like the pig hat on. He's just a terrible human. And
I mean, this was a role that could very easily have been like Timu Zabka, and he doesn't do that though. He really actually brings some stuff to it.
The way when he
vibe and the presence.
Spoiler here: when he loses at the end, the way he puts his ski poles down is so goddamn aggressive, right? It's just, and then the guy touches him, and he like fucking hits his arm, like, get off me. But where you're gonna find a lot of the love. First off, it's flat out a fun movie. It's got a lot of good lines. It's got wonky sequences like the sequence where Lane Myer is left at a restaurant and he envisioned, like, Lane Myer's also got it partially is, Rich, and this is what I was thinking about this today. This movie is almost the 80s equivalent of The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, right?
It's with the Flights of Fancy there.
It's a Flight of Fancy,
or Brazil.
It's just this. Lane Myer is a guy that's going through a rough week. He doesn't know what's in front of him. He can't see, beyond whatever, but he's suicidal. But the funny thing about it is, again, my favorite thing in the movie rewatching today was I didn't remember, because it's played for a laugh, but I didn't remember the first reaction. But his first reaction is so honestly, what am I doing here? This is death. Like, and he starts, trying to get himself down. And I'm just like, that's funny. Because it's like, it's the thing you hope everybody who's thinking about doing
so many great little moments. Like, we quoted the do you know the street value of this mountain? But when Curtis Armstrong is giving his coach advice about go that way really fast, something gets in your way, turn. And what makes that moment perfect is he gives a little head nod to Lane, like, that's the secret of it all. So much confidence, and I know, it's
not only the secret of the moment,
absolute
it's the
confidence in the most idiotic advice ever given.
Go really fast. If something gets in your way, turn. Lane needs both of those things. I'm going to give you a picture of my favorite moment. And I know you don't give me pictures of stuff, but I'm going to give you a picture of my favorite moment. There is a subplot in this. Well, there's 2 subplots that are completely bonkers, off the wall, fucking 80s. Gorgeous. There is Badger, Lane's little 8-year-old brother, who, through a series of things through the movie, is cutting the UPC codes off of cereal boxes, cat litter boxes, cat food boxes, and mailing things away. Which in the 80s, I don't know if you can explain it to anybody now because everybody has fucking Amazon. But in the 80s, we sent away for a lot of stuff, free stuff that we were just excited to get back. And it was just an amazing thing. It was an amazing time. If you sent in 5 UPCs for a Star Wars figure, you might get the Emperor before he comes out. Like, it was amazing. So Badger has this whole
premiums to get you to buy stuff.
Yes, premiums to get you to buy stuff later. But he has this whole side thing going where Lane tries to give him advice as his big brother, and Badger has no lines, nothing. He's building fucking lasers out of fake laser toys in his room. He at one point has a moment with the mailman where it's how to pick up trashy women, which has Taylor Negron, one of my favorite scene-stealing actors, right? Said, what are you, an 8-year-old, doing with big boy smut like this? Which is a great fucking line. And then Badger grabs it out of his hand and runs upstairs. He also plots to and then later on Lane goes past his room on New Year's Eve, and in his room are the 5 trashiest women you will ever see in an 80s movie, and the scene is shot from underneath one of them to where the camera is pointing up at Lane as he's looking down through her legs. It's just brilliant. And Lane just kind of looks in it, and he looks in and realizes Badger can hang with these women, but he can't, and just closes the door behind him. And then Badger, in the credit sequence, makes a fucking space shuttle out of old home appliances. So that's one of the great subplots. The other great subplot is whatever the fuck Kim Darby is cooking at any given moment during the film. She boils bacon. And this is my favorite moment of the film. At one point they're having dinner, and David Ogden Stiers is talking to Lane Myer, talking to John Cusack, and he's having a serious discussion, again with a book behind something. So you can't see the book, but he can read out and goes, hey, bro, like, it's fucking ridiculous. Yeah. And Kim Darby comes out of the kitchen with a big pot, and she takes a spoon, and it's green and has raisins. And she puts it down on one plate, and then she puts it down on another plate. Nobody knows what the fuck it is. And then if you pay the funniest thing ever is Lane starts poking it with the fork, and then the fucking thing moves and leaves his plate.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention, you also have things that you like. She has the French bread, French dressing, French fries, and Peru scene, which is it'll knock your dick in the dirt. It's so funny. She's making it for the French.
My favorite mom cooking scene is the pot with the
whatever it is,
the tentacles, NT, coming out of it with steam and everything. But if you look, that pot is just sitting on the kitchen counter. It's not on the stove. So I don't even know what's happening there.
So she's got cut tentacles. Mm-hmm. Also, their tentacles are moving. The other tentacles are still moving. She puts one tentacle in, and when she puts the one tentacle in, it starts moving.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a giant, a giant thing that's just moving around, clapping. And it's just, her shit is so bizarre. The boiled bacon. Well, you said you didn't like the amount of fat in the fried bacon, so I thought I'd do this. It's batshit insane. But none of it would work if Cusack wasn't giving it 110. Mm-hmm. None of this movie would work. Also, none of it would work without her. Mm-hmm. Look at how cute she is on the car.
Dare say, I want to say too that for all the absolute ridiculousness that goes on, from Ricky's jacket here in that picture to I'm sorry,
Ricky's
your mom
everything in that picture. He also has a fucking clown, Rich. That looks like the problem child there.
But all of that, it kind of all goes back to an honest, I think, emotional moment of when you're in high school and you think you've been with somebody for 6 whole months because that is the longest amount of time you can think of, and suddenly they break up with you and your entire world is shattered. That this movie actually kind of gets that idea right, where you're just like, I want to die. Ugh, this is awful. And every
Also,
song on the radio is a song about being dumb.
Neil
And
Sedaka
going
about
to
being dumb.
school sucks.
Yeah. Oh,
And
and also
it absolutely gets that idea right, and then explodes it for all the comic potential.
it gets that idea right. The other idea is on the
Mhm.
opposite side. It gets the other idea right where you don't like one of the things that happens that David Ogden Stiers says is, you bought the car out front, you've been obsessed with this girl, too obsessed. You need to go on dates. Like the date you go on with the person that your father set up or your mother set up, and the
Ugh.
person is like, it's a fucking nightmare. And it like Lane meets her at the door and she just does an itemized receipt and he pays her $13 and they don't go out. Right. It just, the date you've had that isn't going to work, even though your parents want it to work. Or the other thing he gets right is your parents worried about you losing yourself in a relationship because you're too obsessed. And she goes, like, there's a scene David Ogden Stiers talking about. He's like, all these things, like, he's like, he needs to go out with other people. I just think he's too obsessed. She's like, well, they've been dating for 6 months, dear. I don't think he's too obsessed. Cuts to fucking John Cusack walking into a closet where every one of his clothes has a hanger with Best Picture on it. The idea that
you wonderful gag.
It's a great gag, and you've completely lost yourself in it. Also, the series of stuff with the paperboy is hilarious. And that's the thing. The movie is fun. It's fun, but it also ends up being poignant and actually has a lot going on. Like almost all of the 80s, all the best 80s teen movies does, right? There's also a running gag that is right out of a John Wayne movie. There's a movie called Big Jake where John Wayne, everybody thinks I heard you were dead. Like, nope, not dead. And he eventually kills the people that ask him, I thought you were thought you were dead. But there's a running gag where everybody just starts asking Lane, I know you just broke up with Beth, so I just want to, I know this is weird because I don't know you, but would it be okay if I tried to date her? And Taylor Negron as the mailman asks him, Vincent Schiavelli in a bit role as a teacher asks him, the running gags are really fun.
A little weird. That's a little
well. That's weird.
Now.
That's weird. But what the interesting thing there is, it's our second 80s teen movie that has had teachers lusting after students, which I not great, but also like. I think a funny problem in the 80s that became a real problem in the 90s, 2000s, and the 2010s, right? Here's your picture, by the way.
Hey, look at that guy.
Look at that. I'll say it. Look at that lucky motherfucker.
Yes.
Anyway, but
Miss Franklin does do conventions and is a lovely person if you do get the autograph.
Yeah, she's really nice. But I think none of it works without her. None of it works without the chemistry she has with Cusack. None of it works without everybody completely buying into it. And when I was doing the review thing, we were talking a little bit about the 75%. The consensus is what is great. It's a black humor comedy, surreal comedy, and it's anchored by John Cusack. It's a winning performance. That's in almost all of the reviews, right?
Yeah.
One of the interesting things, a lot of the reviews reference other movies, but they also reference the fact that like this is a cut above. Or, and this, I was looking back, I was trying to figure out a timeline for Cusack, and we'll talk about that as we progress now. But a couple comments, hold on, before we get on to where we're headed. Smithson says, awesome. I got the Emperor through the UPC mail away. So did I, Joe. So did I, buddy. I got the Emperor. I love this little stick. It's the hardest fucking piece to hold on to. I'll never forgive her after seeing Last American Virgin. Yeah, you would. You should. Yes. She's great in this. She's fantastic in this.
One thing, it's just kind of like banging around in my noggin right now, and I don't think I have the background to fully develop this idea, but I'm wondering if we started to see more things in like the 80s, like teachers are, teachers looking at the younger, their students, their charges.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's because culturally,
I think it got noticed.
teenagers were allowed to be a little bit more sexual or sexual beings. Whether that was good or bad is, depending. But you have like certain things where the rise of, we got to get laid comedies like Porky's and stuff like that. And we started to realize that sex and sexuality is part of that teen experience. And unfortunately, as young women would maybe dress a bit more provocatively, that would
think
turn
about like Valley Girl with like the mini skirts. You know what I mean? Like, or like Fast Times at Ridgemont High with the mini skirts, or any of the things. I think it starts happening where it becomes noticeable.
Mm-hmm. Joe has another comment there that I think is appropriate for right this moment.
Sting and the Police nailed that. Yes.
Well, Nabokov nailed it too in Lolita, but I think
yeah, but I also think I think it
like I said though, I don't think I have the right historical psychology background to kind of really develop this.
I'll give it to you. I think I can do it.
If somebody else out there does write the book, I will gladly.
I think in the 50s, 60s, 70s, right? I think people were kind of rebelling in the 70s, especially people were rebelling against the establishment. And then I think what you started to have happen was those kids grew up in households where, don't take any shit from the establishment. And like, then you start to get the creepy teachers, or you start to get whatever. And, and also this is a dark comedy. It's a black comedy. It's about suicide, but it's not like whatever. Yeah. But in 3 or 4 years,
the teacher lusting, it's the joke of everybody's
asking him is randomly
coming up to Lane and basically they think they're being really cool. It's like, hey man, do you think I would,
do you think
and they don't realize it's just like twisting all the knives in his back at once.
Right. And the thing is, it's a play on, oh, you broke up with her? Well, do you think I have a chance? It's your best friend asking you, do you think you have a chance?
Yeah.
The joke here is it expounds out to complete strangers that aren't his friend. Right? It's fucking guys off the street that are asking him the question. So it's like, holy shit. And that's the charm of the movie is in its black humor, but the charm of the movie is also in, it's got a harder outer shell, but once you get past the outer shell, it's like a soft, gooey center. Cause like there's a amazing scene set in the Pig Burger where it's like, it's romantic and it's pleasant and it's just Lane doing his best. And the only thing he can feed her is his mom's TV dinner that he got for Christmas. The Salisbury steak. And then he plays the saxophone for her that kind of moves over. And like I said, it's just a great movie. I was looking at some reviews. Oh, go ahead, but you can talk and then I'll
one other thing. And I want to give a couple of shout outs to the dance scene. Ricky's entrance into the scene is hilarious, I think, with all the smoke and everything behind that. Him actually, some actual semi-decent footwork there. I want to give credit to Dan Schneider, and that's the only time I'll give credit to Dan Schneider because I think
he's a bad person.
Yeah, but how many school dances get to have Tommy Pickles perform at? E.G. Daily, wonderful actress, wonderful singer, wonderful voice actress. Does Tommy Pickles on Rugrats? Did was it Blossom on Powerpuff Girls?
Yep.
So
she said,
we rattled off so many names on this episode. I don't want her name to have been left off that.
Like she sings,
I think
she sings the title tune, and she gets the great moment of "You'd be better off dead than to live without you." Like it's a great song. Actually, that's another thing to really talk about. The music's great. I will say, I was going to say to you, this movie has a cultural significance for critics. By the way, just so we're clear. This movie was the first movie done on At the Movies by Siskel and Ebert, where they didn't have their Chicago newspaper review to back it up. Which is super interesting. Yes, this is the first movie they ever did on At the Movies
Where
Two
they
thumbs.
had written
They didn't. They had not written a review for the Chicago Sun-Times and the Chicago Tribune.
is
So
it
that's
because
a
it
fun.
hadn't opened in Chicago yet when they were
Maybe I
posting it?
don't know.
Because, like we said, it opened up and had that weird,
had a weird fucking opening.
staggered
But
opening.
two thumbs down. Two thumbs down, which is kind of sad. I wish they had gotten it. I would have expected. Not Cisco was really hard on teen comedies, teen horror films, but
Yeah.
Ebert usually had like a little bit of a thumb on the pulse to pick up on things that are different. But like the idea that this dark anarchy black comedy with vignettes and really cool performances from Diane Franklin and John Cusack. It's one of those movies that wins for me. And then I think as we progress out and we get into it is a traditional legacy. The legacy of this movie is it is one of the most talked about cult movies ever made.
There is a certain generation of people, not just film fans, just of like roughly our age. If you just go, gee, Ricky, I'm sorry your mom blew up. They know exactly what you're talking about.
I want my $2.
Yeah.
You can throw at anybody our age. If you're sitting at a bar with anybody our age, and we're both in our 50s, don't tell anyone. If you throw in 40s, I would say 40s and 50s, you throw it, I want my $2, they'll immediately think of the paperboy at the door, or the paperboy throwing the fucking papers through the windows. That was one of the things I forgot to talk about. One of the great tracking shots in this movie. David Ogden Stiers is waking up, and it's like he's coming, he hears the paperboy, and his tires are hitting like the playing cards, and it's just this incredible moment. And then it cuts to downstairs. David Ogden Stiers stands up, puts on his wife's robe, and runs downstairs, grabs keys, runs downstairs. Then you see the tracking shot of why he's running downstairs, and it's broken window, broken window, broken window. It's a garage, broken windows. And the last one is still okay. And it's just...
yeah, that's great visual storytelling.
It is fantastic visual storytelling. Nothing is said except after the paper misses. And then the end of the joke is that when the door closes and falls down from its perch, the window, of course, breaks. It is a perfect joke of laugh, heighten, a scene, intensify, just through the roof, right? Legacy. Now, the interesting thing, I'm going to throw this legacy out there. This is a comedy about suicide. We will eventually get a comedy about suicide that is like blacker than the blackest soul in Heathers in a few years.
True.
But I would argue
that, say, though, this is following from Dom DeLuise and Burt Reynolds, The End.
Right.
It draws a line right through.
You can draw a straight line through where we look at suicide, and we've kind of come back around, right? We've come back around, and as this particular problem has increased and gotten worse in the age of media, in the age of social media,
or at least
awareness, but you can draw a direct line through this movie to 13 Reasons Why, or you can draw a direct line where the curvature of like we can't have black comedy about this stuff anymore because it's become so serious and it's become such an epidemic.
Yeah,
that this movie, the legacy.
I was going to say there's not much laughs in 13 Reasons Why.
Not a lot.
Not a big chuckle fest. No.
So, but it's one of the. It's just, I don't know. For you and I, when we do this legacy segment, I always feel my job is to give you some sort of like Venn diagram of where things are, or what like if you like it's what I used to do at Blockbuster on a Friday night. Rich, did you like this movie? Okay, you should try this over here. Did you like Reservoir Dogs? You like violence? You like kind of cool stuff? Try Killing Zoe. It's the same writer. It's darker, pitch black, but you might get something out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, like the curvature on this is it's like a line. It goes up, comedy, 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 and then down. We're in a down. We're serious now. We're back to serious about the subject
Mm-hmm.
because things have progressed to the point where we're like, it's not that we weren't ever serious, but in the 80s, we have these two linchpin comedies that are about suicide. Like I said, my favorite reaction in the movie rewatching today, like I laughed at all the scenes I've always laughed at, but his first reaction after Beth dumps him and he puts the goddamn cord around his neck and he's just like, what a, this is death. Like Cusack's reaction is just so great. But I think that's part of its legacy is that we can laugh at this a little bit. And the perfectly good white boy line. Terrible shame when people be throwing a perfectly good white boy.
That is the very first thing I ever saw from this movie. Freshman year of college, walking back to my on my floor of my dorm.
It is a
walking
barn
to my
burner
room.
of a line.
The guy who lived across this the hallway, George, had a small TV and a VCR, and I kind of knocked on his door just to say hi, and he opened up, and I hear, "Man, breaks my heart when I see him throw away a perfectly good white boy like that." I was like, what the hell are you watching? And can I come in and watch it with you?
It sounds hilarious. Why is the white boy getting thrown away?
Yes.
But yeah, and the legacy also is, John Cusack will go on to star in another Savage Steve Holland comedy called One Crazy Summer, which will be celebrating its 4th anniversary next year, and undoubtedly will be on our list. He becomes kind of like the everyman. Now, also, I don't want to not talk about this a little bit. I was doing a timeline for him, and I 85, he has The Sure Thing that comes out, and that movie does gangbusters. Rob Reiner, him, and it does gangbusters, and it's one of the great teen romantic comedies. If this is the teen, what I said earlier, then The Sure Thing is the teen It Happened One Night. Two kids going on a cross country journey where they, where one is guaranteed sex with a sure thing, and the other one is, kind of a crabby, angry girl who is like just looking for the right circumstance to blossom into, and to be pleasant, just hasn't found her person yet, so he has that in March, and then he has this in August, and it sets him up as one of the defining actors of the teen comedies. He will later go on to do Grosse Point Blank, which is essentially Lane Myer becoming a hitman and going back for a high school reunion. Same thing. So it's all there, and I just think that's the lasting legacy. Is this is your friend's favorite movie that also turns out to be a movie you really love too, which I think is its defining legacy. What do you think, Rich?
Yeah, this is one of those movies that if you meet somebody and they say they like this movie and you like this movie, we're probably going to be friends.
Yeah.
This is one of because you're plugging into that universality of it's very silly at times. Like I said, it's a live action cartoon at times. It's it has that core of a genuineness to its comedy about the heartbreak of breaking up with the person you thought you were going to spend the rest of your life in when you're dated for
that's
6
part of its legacy. I think that's
months.
part of its legacy too, is that it kind of nails 2 or 3 of the high school teen dynamics pretty perfectly, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. It becomes important. Okay, final comments for the night. Let's see. We lived in a great era for cinema. I all eras are different, but I think the one you grew up in, the one where you're hanging out with your friends at a theater, are always indelibly marked upon your soul. Still think the end of the last movie, he kills himself. Ooh, that's right. We talked about that, Ken. Well, we did talk. I don't know. Maybe. Hey, everyone, to take off, but I'll catch you tomorrow night. Take care. Thanks, Sean. We appreciate you coming. I'll look at that list for you. got it. And then favorite John Cusack movie, guys. One of my favorites, The Grifters. Yes,
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a
yes.
goodie.
Anytime you have Angelica Houston and Annette Bening. Annette Bening,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna throw out of bed. Ever. Anyway,
Was Cusack in The Craze?
no.
Okay. I'm confusing
But
something. Then.
so
But that's a good movie.
that's no, that's a good movie as well.
Yeah.
There's a perfect place to end, Richard. You know, again, movie ends here at Dodger Stadium with the paperboy driving towards them. So they're
Hmm.
not out of the woods yet.
No.
Um, where can
I,
people
I
find you? Where can people find your stuff, Rich?
all of my writing can be found at filmbuffonline.com.
Wait, what were you gonna say? I cut you off. What were you gonna
Oh,
say?
I was gonna say, I think they do go on to have a happy ending. I don't like. I mean, yes, um, the what's his
If
face
he's
and
in
the
Dodger
like,
Stadium, he has more than $2 in his pocket. Perhaps he can pay the paperboy and move on.
yeah.
Okay,
Um,
perfect. Where can people find your stuff?
all of my writing can be found at filmbuffonline.com. I'm also on two other podcasts, but we haven't put out new episodes of either one in a couple of weeks. So go back to the bigpicturepod.com
Disappointing, Rich.
and listen to some old episodes, or you can go track down the Philadelphia Film Critics Circle's Film Scribes podcast. Listen to some old episodes there. Always some great discussions to be had. Film Buff Online also has a Facebook page where we let you know when we post up new stuff, as well as all sorts of fun like this date in history posts and things like that. And I can be found online spouting off politics and movies and TV and comics on Blue Sky and Twitter, and maybe if I remember that I have a Threads account there too. All of which are under at Film Buff Rich.
If you like us, and we have an Instagram page you can like and subscribe, we appreciate all the likes and subscribes. Really helps us out as we're growing, as we're making more content, as we're having new things. But we also have the Indie Escape Network YouTube page. We also have the Indie Escape on Facebook and Instagram. All those places you can find me and my stuff, JW Movie Guy, all over Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, whatever the fuck the megalomaniac is calling it today, X, Twitter, whatever, IMDb as well. And you can find me every Tuesday night with my good friends Jerry and sometimes Joe on Loud and Nerdy at 9 p.m. on the Indie Escape Network live every Tuesday. Where we take everything. Now we will not be here next week. We will be getting into the gist of Halloween, our Halloween film festival, where we will have a werewolf movie, a vampire movie, and a zombie movie.
Oh, if we are not going to be here next week, the following Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I will be wandering around the halls of the Javits Center in New York City at New York Comic Con. So if you see me, come up and say hi, buy me a drink.
Absolutely, we won't be here next week because it is that time of year where Rich has screenings, and Rich's screenings, a part of our deal and part of our magic is that we have to have lives outside of the show, and part of our magic is Rich knowing as much about movies when we can talk and get on with things we've seen or get ready for the Oscar race. It's always good. Mm-hmm. But next week you're seeing something about light.
I'm not sure I can even mention it yet. So
something anyway.
Yeah.
Something cool. Something cool.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us tonight. But also get ready. We have some big things coming up on the network. We have this guy, Riffin' with Dugan, world premiere Thursday, October 9th, 10 p.m. John Dugan has so many stories, been in so many movies, been to so many conventions, met so many people, knows so many people. We're going to have him on. I think his first guest for that episode is Mick Strawn, one of the great visual effects artists in Hollywood. Should be a blast. If you've never had a story time with John Dugan, you're in for a real treat. And then the other big news in the network, new host, new night, new time, new Indie Brigade, 11/26. So you can get ready. You have plenty of time. It's not going to be November, but we're super excited about the return of the Indie Brigade and Thomas J. Churchill joining the network and talking movies and what's happened in the Hollywood movie business. He's got a bunch of movies coming out. He's made a bunch of movies. We had him on Loud Nerdy. He was a great guest, and we're building content and building this network organically the right way, the way we do everything. Thank you for joining us tonight. Stay safe. Go see a movie. Smashing Machine, by the way, opens Friday. That's the big one. But thank you for joining us tonight. Everybody have a great week. Go see some movies. Bye.
Bye-bye.